So many of the interesting things in science were done with very simple equipment, and it was just a case of somebody's insight to figure out what was going on and use simple components to make something as strange and interesting as electricity. Good morning, everybody. You guys have to be patient with me because this is actually the first time I've ever taught a class of any kind. So if I make a mistake, let me know, okay? Everybody take a lemon.
Lemon.
Lemon. Oops, sorry, lemon. So everybody got a lemon? You get the lemons on the way to lemonade by doing this. And so push them hard and rub around. By doing this, you're breaking them up and sort of squirting and squishing the lemon juice around inside the lemon. Somebody who is trying to make electricity, lemon juice is what you call an electrolyte. And there's lots of different kinds of electrolytes, but lemon juice is one because it's an acid. Vinegar is also an acid, and that also works.
Something that's sour.
And things that are sour tend to be acids. So. Okay, so the electrolyte is the first thing that you need to make electricity. Now, what else do we need? Well, the other things we need. So we need some electrodes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some copper wire. Okay. Here you go, guys. Okay, so everybody got a piece of copper wire?
Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting bit. At one end of the lemon, poke the copper wire, and this is a bit tricky, poke it through the skin. And actually, before you poke the wire in, try and bend it a little bit like this. And you can poke that in and just push it into the lemon as far as you can. And everybody has a wire sticking out. That's one electrode. Now we need another one. Now this other one is a little bit tricky to put in. So I've got a very blunt knife here. I'm going to make a little slice in the lemon. Take one of the washers. One there. And push it into the slot about halfway. Don't push it all the way in. There you go.
Like this?
Yep.
Like this?
Now this is actually now a working battery. How do we tell? Well, one way to tell is with this thing. And what this thing does is it measures the amount of electricity. This is generating a volt, 0.97 volts. Now, so he's got 0.87 volts, a little bit less than this one, but just around the right amount. Do you know what a volt is? A volt is a unit of electricity that's named after the man who first made a battery, and his name was Volta. And so we name the volt is named in his honor. But this is generating almost as much electricity, almost as much voltage as a battery would. Now, how would you measure how much voltage a battery is producing? So we're using a meter here, but what's a simpler way?
I don't know.
So I think we should try and make a light up with these lemons. What do you think? These are not light bulbs, these are called light emitting diodes, or LEDs. Who's heard of LEDs?
Me.
So if you want to look at my hand, you can see a little bit of light coming out of this. Just a tiny bit of light. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Let's put more lemons on it.
Oh, okay.
How's that sound?
More juice. More lemonade.
First test was 3.
3 lemons.
And now we have nearly 7 volts.
What?
Now, it's a bit unhygienic, but
What did he just do?
you can feel the electricity by touching these on your tongue.
No, I'm not doing that. Why do you have to shock yourself? How shocking is it?
It's not, you can better feel it.
It's not. I felt it!
You feel it? Try it again. I think just seeing, either feeling the tingle of the juice coming out of the lemon juice would be an aha moment. And I think that aha moment in science when somebody figures that they get it, they get a result, they realize that they're the only human being on Earth who's ever, or the first human being on Earth to come to that realization, I think is is one of the primary joys of science. And if we make a battery out of these two metals and replace the lemon with something, we can make a much smaller battery. Now it turns out instead of using a lemon, we can use a little piece of paper.
Whoa.
And dip it in an electrolyte, which happens to be,
Oil.
well, this is vinegar, and it's an acid. We could use lemon juice as well, but I want to show you that other acids work, and that you can put, just by putting a little piece of paper like that, wet with either salt water, which works, and now, that's a battery.
Vinegar.
You see how that got made? Well, let's see how we do. Now the lemons gave us a volt, or 0.9 volts. What is this giving us?
What?
It's giving us half a volt, 0.5 volts.
Wow.
Now the way you do it, you put a washer down.
What are you doing? Piece of paper.
You wet the piece of paper,
What are you doing?
and then you put a penny.
What are you doing? Can we wrap it up?
Then you put a washer down.
Ooh.
Then you put a wet piece of paper.
Then you put, of course, a pen.
Then you put a penny.
Looks like
A washer. Put a wet piece of paper.
Can't we wrap
Then you
it
put a
up?
penny. Now, should we measure what voltage we're getting? 3.2 volts.
Whoa.
4 volts.
4 volts. That's a lot.
Now, with a bit of luck, that should be able to light an LED.
Light emitting diode.
Out of this whole thing, we got 6 volts. Okay, so we made light out of a stack of coins and washers. And if you make a really big one, you can make the lights very bright and you can make the voltage very high. So this is about 4 volts. If we keep using all of these, we could get a big tingle or we could get a very, very bright light. Inside a battery, it works exactly that same way. Of 2 electrodes, the electrolyte, and now it's time for everybody to build their own. All they have in front of them is a stack of pennies and washers and wet paper towel, and yet the thing makes an LED light up. And I still find it remarkable that you can do that, and there's nothing magical about these.